The following announcement was made on the 10th of July 2023. A new EA studio developing a single-player action-adventure game based on Marvel's Black Panther. Our mission is to build an expansive and reactive world that empowers players of Black heritage to experience what it is like to take on the mantle of Wakanda's protector, the Black Panther. Sorry, white people.
Next up, we got Danny Lalanders, and she has her game Validate. We're going to show the trailer and then just talk to her about her game. How's it going? Okay.
Hey, Danielle Lalanders. She's a mook. And before you look at me with disapproving eyes, YouTube and people out there, that terminology goes all the way back to Martin Scorsese's 1973 art house classic, Mean Streets. Even ChatGPT highlights the phrase as being someone who's a bit of an idiot savant, just like me.
I'm a mook, yeah. What's a mook?
A mook? What's a mook? I don't know. What's a mook?
You can't call me a mook.
I can't?
No.
Now, I've just mentioned Danielle Lalanders. She is the Associate Narrative Director for this studio they called Cliffhanger Games. Her job was to create a compelling story and interactive moments within the video game. But I guess, just like the moments from Iron Man in 2008, every time Andrew Wilson, the CEO of EA Games, peered around the corner and asked how everybody, including Danielle, were doing, it was a case of, everything's fine, Andrew, carry on.
يا أهلاً وسهلاً وميت مرحبا.
And as you'll see from my breakdown in this video today, folks, Danielle is quite the extraordinary piece of garbage that continues to land jobs even with companies like EA, and as per usual, doesn't just cry the victim, but proves once and for all she has no talent to boot. The fall of Cliffhanger Studios by Electronic Arts is a beautiful thing, and its timing couldn't be better, especially with the announcement that EA's once mocked Star Wars Battlefront 2 and its surprise mechanics, remember those?
Per term you wish to apply to them, do you consider them ethical?
So what we look at as surprise mechanics, but I think it's important to look at this. So if you go to a I don't know what your version of Target is, but a store that sells a lot of toys, and you do a search for surprise toys, what you'll find is that this is something people enjoy. They enjoy surprises.
Has made a triumphant return to the Steam charts with an impressive player count. You can even play a fan-made modded version of Battlefront 3, which, if successful, might cause EA to develop that as a future title. In a recent IGN article, EA Entertainment President Laura Miele sent out an email confirming the closure of Cliffhanger Games. The same Miele who fumbled her way at TED Talks and interviews, declaring herself as the champion, or maybe the messiah, of the oppressed diverse gamers out there, because that's a real thing.
We have concerted strategies and efforts on multiple fronts to ensure that we represent our players and that we bring the most diverse experiences to the world.
What would you say you do here?
Despite Miele's bravado about empowered female characters within female games, her tone is somewhat dismissive, especially when you view the clip of Mass Effect 3's trailer of Female Shepherd or FemShep, when in reality that character can be whatever skin tone you desire, including her sexual preferences. But we can all look at Laura and know she's not a gamer. Meet Danielle Lalanders, or Danny to her friends and maybe enemies, the self-proclaimed award-winning games designer. A quick check on Danny's LinkedIn profile paints a different truth. She, her, because it's the modern era,
you can have two. Fucking you.
has over 26 skills to bring. Thankfully, she's not Brian Mills from Taken.
But what I do have are a very particular set of skills. Skills I've acquired over a very long career.
These range from networking, marketing, to hospitality, but she's declared to having won an award in an IMDb listing for her, wait for it, unapologetically black gaming podcast. Well, we're presented with this. Can we step back for a second and wonder what the outrage would be if it were the unapologetically white gaming podcast? If you saw my video over the weekend about the ill-fated Gaming While Black crowd-funded documentary, not true as it's mostly a self-funded vanity project, no one is falling for this fake narrative about a self-oppressed demographic group of marginalized people. Gaming has always been diverse in its player base, as well as those who helped to craft the indies and AAA titles. It's the same argument that comes up. Who's the better Minogue sister, Kylie or Danny? Well, if he had half a brain cell, you know the answer is Danny. I have no idea what needle Ms. Minogue is on about, but I will say she's still a stone cold fox. And FYI, she was married to my favourite Doctor Doom actor, Julia McMahon, her co-star from Home and Away. Now Danny, not that Danny, this Danny, Lalonda's accomplishments in gaming range from 2014 to 2021, where Miss Lalonda's was a receptionist at a kiddies daycare centre. One of the bullet points she lists is complying with procedures, rules and regulations on keeping a safe and clean reception area. Hey Danny, did you apply those rules to that now infamous video where you didn't want white people working on a black-only dating game called Validate?
Every time you see romance, it's typically white people, and it's typically only focus on them. Like, what about us? Like, what about our stories?
An awful play on words, but to me, reinforces affirming one's skin tones rather than the content of their character. I can't imagine which American civil rights leader said that back in the day.
They live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
As you can see, Danny has received no recommendations from her industry peers on LinkedIn. Maybe her 8-month stint with Sweet Baby Inc., a notorious consultancy firm with shady business practices and an embarrassing track record of trying to strong-arm gaming studios to replace problematic white characters with a sanitized, diverse version instead. It's worth noting that coverage of this story by Variety, The Metro and Eurogamer carefully omit Lalanda's role had to do with the studio's closure. In the now infamous GDOC 2021 Devs of Color video, Danielle's opening statement declares she's not talking in general, but talking about me, but then proceeds to shoot herself in the foot when she drops this banger of a statement.
There is not a lot of guides of how to get started with your games. And the guides that do exist are very white-centric. I'm making a game just like everyone else, so why wouldn't you take me seriously? Like, is it because I'm black? I mean, it probably is, but like...
Because you're black.
And let's not forget, she's a non-binary MILF in training.
I am also a writer on Spirit Swap. So I'm a non-binary MILF in training, and I've been in the industry for 1 year.
In the quiet words of the Virgin Mary, come again.
I would say to you virgins out there, keep your trousers zipped up. Electronic Arts said the closure was due to sharpen our focus and put our creative energy behind the most significant growth opportunities. I have no idea what the budget for the Black Panther game was. One can only estimate around $100 million. But here's Google's AI's explanation of budgets towards video game development. So typically, the timeline for developing software, games or otherwise, is divided into what are called milestones. These are important markers that signify the completion of crucial tasks in the development cycle. the development team creates a milestone document detailing the specifics of each milestone. I'm guessing in the case of Black Panther, headlined by Cliffhanger Games, had none of these in place. Even the premise of the Marvel characters seemed interesting under the guise of Kevin Stevens, who was headlining Cliffhanger Games and had previously worked for the now closed Monolith Productions, known for the Middle-earth Mordor games. You could apparently choose which version of the character to play as, whether as T'Challa or worse still, Shuri.
Oh man! Oh God! Oh man!
Danny Lalande's role in Cliffhanger Games as their associate narrative designer and her utter disdain for working with white people, you wonder why some of her previous jobs were suspiciously working from home. Excuse me. And why Danny even reposted this gem on Blue Sky socials recently. And are you ready for this, folks? Because it's going to break your heart. The game industry is a bit of a mess right now, and it's hitting all of us. But when things get bad, they're often toughest on marginalized folks. This is repeating what Gaming While Black by Black Sparrow Media have tried to do and have failed miserably. I guarantee you this will go the same way. Now, what I can't fathom here is that on the assumption that a budget for Black Panther wasn't actually allocated to this team in the end because they couldn't meet their milestones, why then couldn't EA have redistributed those funds to make Titanfall 3? Oh, because Respawn Entertainment had to lay off 100 people this year, so apparently TF3 could not be made at all, despite the fact that myself and thousands, maybe millions of other players around the world wanted to see a third entry in the awesome series. Still, we have Marvel 1943, The Rise of Hydra, written by ex-Uncharted creator Amy Hennig, that sees Black Panther teaming up with Captain America to take down the German bad guys. If all goes well, we can expect to see that in 2026. Now, let's not forget, it was also IGN on the 13th of March 2024 when Matt Purslow dropped that article about Resident Evil 5 must never be remade due to the game's fictional version of Africa where the black folks are infected by the equally fictitious Ouroboros virus. IGN's premeditated reaction was community noted on X, and even the voice actress Eva Adair, who plays Sheva Alomar with Chris Redfield, waded in with a common sense approach.
You know, because I know there's a lot of people who will say, oh my God, what a racist game. You know, I know it's not a lot of people, but there are a few. And I think, you know, it was great that they made this game. You know, they're not going to be perfect at it. They're coming from a different country, from a different culture. They're not going to be perfect at it.
In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, I do not wish Danielle Lalande's or the rest of her ilk the best of luck, because quite frankly, they don't deserve it. And if they were expecting a literal cliffhanger like the 1969 The Italian Job with Michael Caine, then they've got another thing coming. And if you enjoyed this video today, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you give it a like, smash the subscribe button, and if I were you, and if you were me, you should definitely return for the next video.
Look, pal, I don't know who you are.
But I know who you are. Captain, America's hero, dancing around in red, white, and blue underwear.
Says the man dressed like an overgrown house cat.
That shield that you hide behind does not belong to you. You are unworthy of it.
I don't have time for this.
Neither do I.